Hi guys, if you'll be like me, you will for sure want to learn what it means, this text or any other Japanese text. I just copied a text from the internet and for you to understand what I mean. So I always struggled with learning kanji. It was really something that I couldn't properly put in words. I was learning a kanji one day and the next day I would just forget it. And it was very frustrating because I was usually spending around 1-2 hours each day for months repeating with Anki, with SRSs, and it never really stuck with me. Everything that I was learning, I was just forgetting. It's just too much to get in one day. And I actually wanted to enjoy, learning kanjis. I didn't want just to be this stressful activity, and I would just wait for the last review day. So I created a new method, which for me it just speeds up my language learning and kanji learning and memorizing, and it's just so much better than any method out there. And believe me, I tried everything. So join me in this class. I will teach you how to actually look at the kanji and how to understand it, how to get to the core of it. And in my way of learning it is much better than anything that it is out there. I could manage to learn 10,000 kanjis in just a few months, and it didn't require me a lot of time. I learned it once and that's it. I learn the meaning and the reading and move on with my life. I go to the fun part much faster because I don't really like to waste time learning. I just want to be more effective. So hopefully this course, it's, even though it's small, it contains everything that you need to know. And welcome, and see you in the course. Bye. Okay guys, so let's get going. So I just downloaded from the internet a random text to have everything, hiragana, katakana, and kanji. So this is how it looks like, right? I just copied it in Photoshop so I can actually draw on it and show you which one is which. So the hiragana and the katakana are very easily to learn. It really takes maybe I don't know, like 1 week in the worst case scenario to actually learn and to recognize it on the page. But in case you haven't, this is how it looks like. So for example, this is hiragana, this is hiragana, this hiragana, this hiragana, and this is hiragana. Then you have this, then this, and the katakana if you want. Then is this. So each of them is individual reading, and in total you have like a word. So this is one character, right, and so on, like this. And so this is the distinction between hiragana and katakana and kanji. So here you have katakana, which is usually in describing words which are foreign in nature, for example coffee, and basically borrowed words in Japanese. And hiragana are words, not words, but like symbols which are standard in the Japanese. So for example, ka, this is ka, re and te, and so on. So you build words with them, but you need to understand when to use it. But this is really not the course now. It's just just want to highlight which one is which, and those complicated ones, for example this, or basically all this, put some cross on it like that. These are kanji, and of course they build word or names with it. So this is how they look like, and the goal here is when you're reading, so when you're starting from left to right, like normally, so you should be able to switch very fast, make distinction from these writings. So for example, when you look at this, you should be able to read it. But of course, it takes some time in its practice. But what is important now is just you to understand that this text contains the three types of characters which are building basically the Japanese written language. So this is what we'll work with. But actually the course, it's about understanding each kanji and the meaning and how to actually look at how to learn it properly. Because the hiragana and the katakana are very easy. They don't really have meaning. This ka doesn't have any meaning. This re doesn't have any meaning by itself. But the kanjis actually have meaning and stories. So this is what you need to learn. And they can have, for example, different meaning. This you can read it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways. So you need to understand from the context, from all this context, what this kanji means and how to read it, because they have different meanings and different ways how to pronounce it, how to read it. It depends on the context and it depends on the word that is assigned. Okay, now about kanjis. The kanjis are very, very complicated to just learn it by looking at it. For example, I'll just zoom in a bit. So for example, I don't know, this one, for example, let's take it like that. So let's say that we have 1 second just to make the brush smaller, this one. So we just say that we want to learn this kanji, right? And it's just look at it. It has so many strokes, so it's very hard to remember it, and because all of them, they're different. All of them, if you just look at them, they look different. Look at this one, for example. It's very, very hard to remember. Sometimes some of them, they're very easy. So for example, this one, yeah, this is very, very easy to remember. This is just in a standard way when you think about remembering the kanji. You can look at it and you can say like, hey, this means above, and yeah, you can just look at it and say, okay, this is very easy, and maybe this one can be also easy, or I don't know. This, for example, is very common. This one is very common, and it can be very easy to remember, because it just looks easy to remember, or this one, for example, so some of them, they're very easy, but some of them, they're extremely hard. For example, and this one, for example, I consider it extra. It takes extra time to actually remember it in a standard way, how people study kanji and how to memorize it. You can see it like 1,000 times, I think, and still you'll not be able to get a grasp of it. When you look at it, it will be just like, oh yeah, of course, the meaning. So one way to remember it is just over and over again, to just look at it every single day, and hopefully in a few months you'll get one right, because you already saw it so many times and you saw it so many texts that it will be very easy for you to just pin it down. Yeah, of course, but the problem is that you don't have just one to learn. You have like just look at them. There are like thousands upon thousands of kanjis, which are actually useful. It's not, I'm not talking about some really crazy ones, but these are all standard Japanese kanji which are used on a daily basis. I mean, you'll see this one like lots of times, and this one you'll see like all of them. They're very common. So you need to learn every single day. You need to learn if you want to use this old technique that everybody's using. Just look at the text and one new word a day and so on. This is honestly, it's absolute waste of time. And the worst is that a lot of people are referring to, for example, look at this kanji, and the next day if you use Anki, for example, the space repetition system, so you will look at it. If you and you have two options, right? You have it's all okay, so you remember it, and then you just move it, so it moves in time. So instead of doing it tomorrow, you'll do it maybe in 3 days or 4 days, and to see if you remember it. And again, you can branch again, like is it okay? Yes, okay. Then it moves to 10 days and so on. But and again, after 15 days, if you look at it, and because your memory failed, because you learn many more words in the meantime, and it's very easy if you don't use it to just forget it. So eventually this will trail, and then you'll fail it, and then it goes back, and then you need to start all over. And believe me, it's just a waste of time, because the problem is that you never actually learned the kanji in the first place. It's like when you look at something, you look at something for the first time, right? And you may say, for example, that yeah, it's something similar to something else, and it's very easy to remember that one thing, and then just by association you will just remember this. But on the long run, you don't learn the core, what it means, this kanji, and its sound, how to pronounce it, and in what context. The context is not really important. This one comes with time, but the kanji itself, you need to understand what it means by first look, by first glance. So and if you failed it, then you just repeat it the next day, and then you over and over and over again, like in a loop. You're just wasting time. You're trying to remember something that you never actually learned in the first place. So and imagine you need to repeat all this principle with every single kanji that you don't understand, and there are, believe me, there are a lot. So maybe first 100 or something, you can just remember it by looking at it, because it just looks so easy to remember. But some of them, they are not really hard, so you need to put more effort in it. But this course, it's about learning it once and never have to look at it again. You'll just know it forever. And it's not with space repetition. Space repetition is meant for something else, but you need to learn it the proper way on a deeper level. And you'll see it's maybe complicated in the beginning, but once you know it, you'll just learn. You just want every single day to learn something else, because it's just so cool. It's just so easy to take any complicated kanji and just learn it once and for all. So from the next video, I will show you exactly how to do that. And believe me, this course, it will be very, very once you understand the principle, it will be just it will help you tremendously. It will save you a lot of time. Trust me, I learned the kanji first 2000 the hard way, and it didn't work. I almost always forgot it. In like 6 months, if you just let it, try yourself in 6 months to look at the same kanji when you think that you know them, and believe me, it will be like you will not be able to remember almost anything, especially if you don't use it. But in the way that I'm learning the kanji, is you learn it just once, and that's it. That's no matter how complicated it is. Actually, the more complicated, the better. But it will be very interesting experience for you. So from the next video I will start teaching you how to learn by yourself kanji. Okay, so let's learn a kanji, right? I'll just give you some example. One from this page. So let's take this one, right? This one, number 1. Oh god, I need to write better, but anyway, first one. So I will just zoom a bit in it, so it will be much easier to see. Okay, the resolution is not maybe the best, but you know, let's take this one. So when you look at it, this, first of all, this is read like ume, and it means sea or ocean. So you'll see it all the time, you know, and in a lot of cases, this, when you look at it, is means the sea, is referring to a sea or a large body of water. So you can, for example, just look at it a lot of times, and because it appears so often in normal text on the internet, that it's very easy to remember it. But in case you just don't want to do like that, you don't want to, you know, waste time, look at it thousands of times, you just want to look at it once and understand what it means and how to read it. First of all, you need to understand what a kanji is. A kanji, it's a collection of strokes. So people in the past, now everything is on online. You can just you know, autocomplete, just start the beginning of the word in English, and it will just give you the kanji that you want. So but you don't want that. If you want to do calligraphy, for example, you need to learn stroke order and so on. But generally, you know, is made by strokes. Yeah, this is how you make kanji. It's not really the best, but you know, if you want to write it by hand. If you just want to read from the internet or so on, then you don't need to worry about that stroke order. But in our case, you just want to understand what it means, right? So first of all, the kanji is, like I said, a collection of strokes, and the strokes are actually meant to draw an image of something. So of something that is real, tangible, or something abstract. So you can, for example, the same way a word has a dictionary explanation, you can think about the dictionary explanation of that word as the strokes of this kanji. So, you know, for example, you word pig, yeah, or some sheep, whatever. You can go to dictionary and you can read what it means. You know, it's like an animal with fur, and you know, it lives this and that, and it has this height and this weight usually, and isn't from the family of something else. And you know, we can see usually how similar is to other words, and so on. So the description from the dictionary of any word, it's like the strokes of the kanji. And you need to understand this principle. When what you see here, they're not random you know, shapes and sizes and so on. So all this, when you look at it in the future, when you will actually know the word like a second nature, you'll recognize it like a face of someone. So every time you look at this configuration, this kanji, you're actually looking at the sum of all the strokes, and you need to understand why they're there and what is their meaning, you know, and how, for example, if you remove one part, it changes the meaning and the description. So you know, you can take, for example, this the next one, this this kanji. And if you take this part, this top part, if you remove it, there is a kanji which look exactly like this one, just without this upper part. Then it means something else, and it has this different different reading and meaning, of course. But in our case here, it has you know, in the context of this phrase. So let's get back to our first kanji. So when you look at it, like I said, it's building parts. So what are these parts? You need to learn, first of all, you need to understand how to read the parts. So the strokes are first. Then they create the parts, which are basically the radicals. And then the radicals together make the kanji. So the strokes are not important because you don't need to write it by hand. So this we can cross. Yeah, you don't need them. So what you need to understand is, first you need to learn the radicals. And these are not a lot, you know, they're very super common because they're the building blocks of any kanji. So first you need to get this right, and after that then you need to get the kanji. You cannot learn properly a kanji if you don't understand the radicals. And they're not really a lot, you know, so it's very, very easy and very common to learn. So if you go back to this one, first radical in this image, in this kanji, is this one. Let me just change the color a bit because I don't want to use, let's take a blue. Okay, hopefully it's good. So first radical is this one. I'll try to. Okay. The second radical, let's make it this green, is this one. Yeah. And the third radical, yellow maybe? Okay, let's take this one. Last radical is this, right? So in the future, when you look at this kanji, you need to, first thing you do is break it into radicals, which are the components of this kanji. You know, what are these components of this kanji? What are the components of this kanji, and so on? You know, some of them they're very easy to spot. For example, here, right? So you have three radicals. You can say, but hey, look, this is one radical. I see it here. Well, yes, you see it here. You see this part. You see it here. Yeah, that's correct. But it has this extra radical here. So, you know, and this one down, it's the second radical. So here there are three radicals actually, if you look at it. And not every single line is a radical, but the sum of some of them there is considered radical. This is one radical. All this is another radical. And so on, you know, there are quite a lot. You see, for example, and this is a good example. Look, so we have like this. You have this radical here, the blue one, yeah? This blue, you can see it repeated in other words with different meaning. So for example, here it means water. You don't need to remember it. It's just water, yeah? Some liquid, something like that. Here also means it appears the same. You see, it looks the same and it appears, but it's in combination with totally different radicals. So the whole thing means something else. But again, if you go to the first one, right? So you want to understand this kanji, what it means. So if you look at it, you need to first break it into radicals, and then all these radicals, the sum of them will give you it's like a formula, you know. you want to know the answer to the equation, you need to first solve this unknowns, these variables. So you have 1, 2, and 3. It can be, 4, 5, 6. It can be a lot, It can be 1, it can be 2. It doesn't matter, the number of radicals. But what's important is how to look at this kanji, and instantly you should split it mentally into two radicals. The same way you look at a word and you have all the letters, right, and which make a word. When you put them all together, then the word comes out of the page and it gets the meaning and so on. The word letters themselves, they're meaningless, but when you put them together in different combinations, then the word comes out. Okay, so we know that each kanji is built out of radicals. That's fine. Okay, so now what? Should I just learn all the combinations? Isn't that the same like learning the kanji for the first time? No, because now when you look at any kanji on this page, you'll understand that there is a story behind it. There is something easier to remember, because they can be really easy or it can be very complicated. But if you have a method that you can use anytime, anywhere, then it doesn't really matter what you see. It's just another kanji which you need to do go through the checklist, and then you'll remember it once and for all. So all the meaning of this word is basically si, ume, fine. So how to look at a word and come up with sea or ocean? Well, the meaning of the word is, like I said, described in part by the radicals, the meaning of the radicals. So let's break it down. So this one, I already said that means water. Okay. So this means water. Sorry, it's a little pixelated here because the resolution is absolutely crazy, but we can still read it. So this means water. Now this, what does this green thing mean? What does this radical mean? I will just make another line. Where to make it? Here, this one, what does it mean? And this one, what does it mean? So the upper part, when you see this, it means, the radical means roof. Roof. It looks kind of like a roof, right? It's well, you need to have a little imagination here, but this means roof or something on top of something else, like in a house. And the bottom part means rice field. Well, you can look at them and you can say, okay, but this doesn't look exactly like a rice field. That's fine, but you can look at it and the radical looks kind of like a rice field. These are the patches that create the rice field, and here is like a roof because it's on top of the rice field, and so on. Here you can use a little your imagination. So we have water, roof, and rice field. And how come this is a sea, and how come it's ume? Well, now comes the beginning of the strategy of how to actually learn this kanji. So now you know that this kanji contains three. It's very clear, right? It's very clear that it contains three separate, independent parts, chunks, and all of them combined create the rice field. Sorry, create the sea, the meaning of the sea. This kanji, which means the sea. In what order to read it?
Well, you can usually go from left up down. This is how usually you when you look at the kanji, this is how you go through about. You can start another way, but majority of them you read from left top, like this. I'll just like this and like this. This really doesn't have a lot of importance, but all of the kanjis, this is how, for example, this one also, you know, you read like this and then come down. The meaning, I mean. In some cases, just from top to bottom, and that's very easy. But majority they're like this, if they're more complicated. So anyway, so we have water, roof, and rice field. To actually understand how come the combination of these radicals create the C, is that you need to make a story, a mnemonic for these three things, and then you will come up with a kanji meaning, and then after you got the meaning, then you have the reading. Another, so radical, kanji meaning, and the reading. This is the order, you know, in which people learn this. This is how we should learn it too. So, water. You understand this is water. So you need to make a story with water, roof, and rice field. Well, the sea itself, when you think about the sea, you can, the water is pretty clear that it's something watery. And then the rice field, you can imagine this huge rice field, like as big as a sea. And the roof is that, you know, you can think about, for example, that the water is evaporating, goes into the clouds, which are kind of like the roof, and then goes again. So you can make the story that the water, it evaporates, goes to the roof, and then from the roof, from the clouds, goes down again to the rice field, which is the bottom of kanji, and the bottom in this image. So you have to create a mental image of this water circulation, and the meaning of all this story is just to have, when you look at it, when you look at this kanji in the future, if I delete all this, you know, if I hide this layer, I'll just hide this layer. When you look at this for the first time, you can look at it and say, okay, so we have the water, the something on top, you know, like the water on top, it can be like a cloud or something, or like a storm, something on top, and then the rice field is like a huge rice field. Just imagine it like that, and all this, it creates sea or ocean or something like that. You know, this, when you think about the sea, you don't really think about just the water itself, but you think about the sea and the horizon and the, you know, the clouds on top, because it's very easy to remember, you know, the sea, the ocean. It's this crazy mass of water. So you have a story in your head. You can create even crazier, you know, you can imagine that someone, you know, on the rice field, you know, had, for example, didn't have water, you know, home, and didn't have this water, and they just, you know, gave floods, let the flood come and you know, water the rice field, because they didn't have like artificial, you know, from home water to water it. You can make a lot of combinations of it. This is just the simplest way to remember it. You just create easy to remember and to create these stories for each kanji, and for each radical, and then put it together. You like mix it like in a kitchen, the ingredients, and then creates this soup, which is the kanji itself, the meaning of it. So, you know, for example, from now on, that when you see water, roof, and rice field, or a field, it doesn't have to be rice, but you know, we're Japan and rice, it can be any field, right? But you can think about actually, you know, this can be roof, but it can be something like a roof. It doesn't have to be a roof, but it's, you know, everybody has a mental image of a roof or something, or a ceiling or something. But it can be something else, you know. It can be like on top, like a hat, you know, or something. I don't know. Just make it how you imagine it the best. But first step is understand the radical, then create a story from the radical to build like a Lego, you know. You have this radical and this radical and this radical and I don't know, another smaller radical here. Then you can create like a image, like a Lego construction. And then at the end of the cubes themselves, they don't mean anything, but when you put them together, they can give life to something greater, you know. And this is the same principle is used here to break it down in parts. And I am aware that there is a book called Remembering the Kanji, and basically it's creating the same, like takes the kanji and it creates mnemonics from the radicals, and it's kind of the same, because the problem here is that the book is kind of fixed on the radical, so it doesn't have a lot of the author in this case is giving some explanation for the radical, but that's it. You know, you just need to remember the radical, and that's it. You know, you end up again memorizing kanjis because you don't actually, the stories that you create, they're not really high quality. My goal here is to create as high as possible quality stories for the radicals, and then make a mnemonic for them, and have this. Basically, every time you look at the kanji, you have a story, and then the story, the elements in the story, they are actually parts of built by these radicals. So in our case, you know, you have water and you have roof and rice field, and then you got the meaning of the kanji, which is sea or ocean or something like that. You know, it can be and now the reading. The reading is a little more complicated, because the reading of the kanji changes in the context of the it can change in the context of the phrase. Maybe it's part of a name. You know, names are created with kanjis, and in this case it means sea, and the sea is ume. But you know, you cannot come directly to the reading. You need first to understand the kanji, the meaning of it, and then based on that meaning, then you make association one more time for the reading. And ume, like if you want a mnemonic for ume, in this case it depends on the language, that your main language. For example, my native language is Romanian, so I pull mnemonics also from my native language. So for example, you have ume, right? This means ume. This is how you read it, ume. And you can also, if you want, you can make mnemonic for if it's something like that. It doesn't really mean anything, right, in English, ume. But in your native language, if you have other than English, then you can it's easier. You know, you have a bigger pool of data to pull. But in this case, ume, what I would
what I think about when I look at ume is something like the u part. I break it also down in u and me. So u, it can be like when you say like ooh, like for example you went for the first time to the sea. So in my mind I make another mnemonic for the reading. So I say ooh, something like, you know, something like amazement, ooh, or you can say oh, but in this case it's ooh. And me is like the French when they say mer, you know, it means like the sea. So you have like the u part and the mer, you know, and it's very very easy. So I know that already that it means sea, and I think about how the French say ooh, la mer, you know, something like that, and then it's very easy to remember. So now every time I look at it, I think about these parts, the components, and then the reading is like, because it's huge, you know, water, then I look at it and I say ooh, I imagine a French person looking for the first time at the sea in south of France and in Cannes or Nice and saying ooh, la mer, you know, and I remember this. So it's very easy. It cannot be, you know, any other words. So in our case, maybe it's not the best, you know, words to remember, but still it's pretty easy to break it down, the sounds, you know. And you know, some of them they're more complicated, but in our case, and by the way, when I speak about complication, this, for example, this word, it doesn't have to be because it looks very hard, right? And it's like, oh, it has so many strokes, oh, it must be very hard. But no, this one also, like the C, ume, it's very small, like sounds, which is creating the word. And when I broke it down into, this is just for me. The word is not really broken it down, but it's in my mind. This is how I break it. I make association for u, one, and me. So we have, like, in my mind there are two words, ume, and you know that we have three radicals and two chunks. That's fine. You know, it doesn't mean it has to be correct. It doesn't have to be three because we have three radicals. But in the future, when you learn, it's so easy to just use this principle of, first, like I said, break it down, the radicals, understand the radicals, what they mean in their, you know, primitive form as building blocks, and then try to create highly relevant mnemonics, and the mnemonics should be super connected. All three radicals should be very, very connected with each other. So this should be a story, this should be a story, this should be a story, each of them. And when you think about that, you know, it can be, you can also add on top like color, you know, it has to be, you can put a lot of emotions into these stories. It can be as relevant you want, it can be crazy, you know, it doesn't matter, but they have to be linked. And then after you got the meaning, then it's so easy, you know, then it's so easy, because then you have a base, then, you know, then you have another, you can consider the kanji itself mnemonic, and then, you know, the ume part, it comes like as a result of all these mnemonics. So, you know, it may seem complicated because there's like, look how much time I spend just for one kanji. But when you look at a new kanji, it's so easy. It's so easy. So for example, I don't know, I don't know, like you can take this kanji. Okay, this is like oh, sorry. So you have like 1, to this will be hard to actually draw because it will be very annoying. So this part is second, then you have this part, then you have these two things and this. So it's there are a lot of okay, maybe this looks quite ugly, but when you look at this, it's like, oh my god, what's going on, how to read this. Again, this is how you read it, like this and like this, right? So in this case, you know, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5 radicals, and it's much easier like that, because a lot of other kanji, they may have this bottom part, you know, it doesn't have to be like this, and on top to have totally different part, and it'd be like, oh my god, you know, like how am I make the distinction? It's very easy when you have the radicals and the story connected to them. It's very easy to not to make mistakes, because you're actually, every time you look at a new kanji, you create stories. You remember the story, you don't remember the kanji. That's the one word, you know. So you have 1, 2, 3, you know, 3 elements to remember. And if they're different, then you remember that story, because it's like, you know, road and 2 other. So it's like that. This is how you have to think when you learn. Yeah, then the, you know, the meaning and then the reading. So this is made by 2, you know, this upper part, eye, this, it means eye, and the lower part, legs. So you have to make a story about, you know, eyes and 1 eye or whatever, and legs. Then you create a story, and then from the story you make another story for the reading. And you know, you'll say, but how did you know that this is an eye? Do I have to learn yet another thing? Is this like a kanji, or what is this? Yes, it is a kanji, but in this case, it's also a radical. So the radicals sometimes can be also kanji, and the legs, they're just legs. You know, they're just a clear-cut radical. They cannot be kanji. But the upper part, it is actually a kanji. So and each kanji, of course, has a reading. So you know, you need to understand which are radicals and which are kanji. So for example, here this is 1 radical, this is second, and this is third, or you know, doesn't matter, but there are 3 independent radicals, and so on. These are just like, you know, 1, 2. This is pretty easy. Let's say this one, also pretty easy. 1, 2. This mouth, and also this one, for example. So this kanji is split by 1. The second one is here, and the third one is here. You know, so this is the first exercise for you. Take any kanji anywhere, it doesn't matter, you don't know the meaning, the reading, whatever, and try to split it in radicals. So because if you know how to do that, then it's very easy to make to build, at least mentally, what it could mean, you know. So like I said in this one, if I see this radical being part of a kanji, meaning water, I know that the word there is something with, you know, liquid, right? It can be something else. It can be, you know, part of the word to take a shower or something, but it has like
some water there, you know. If I see some, and after some time it's very easy, you know, to spot. Some of them, they're very, very this, for example, you know, here this is plate, you know, Sara. So this is, it's a radical in this case, but it's also a kanji. So when you see it, you know that there is something to do with the plate, right? Or something like that, kitchenware. And yeah, so basically you see this one, water again, you see. And there are some of them are very, very easy, you know. No, this means day. Yeah, you can make stories, some water, day, and something else, and then you can, you know, learn it just like that. So this lesson was a little long, but I just wanted to stick with it. No cuts, no edits, because I just want to tell you the way I learned it, because it's really, there are so many kanjis, you know, that you have to have like a formula, you have to have some way to actually learn it. And you'll be like, oh, but I need to learn so many things just for one tiny kanji. I mean, yeah, but this one tiny kanji, it's used quite a lot, you know. It's part of the first you know, 1000 kanjis, which are the most used kanji in the Japanese vocabulary. So it's really good. You can take, for example, first 2000 kanjis, and you can just learn them like that, and it will help you enormously. I mean, the rest, of course, from time to time you'll see like a new one which you have no idea, you never saw it. But when you see a new one which you never saw ever, then, you know, it's much easier to learn it, because you know, you see, you look at this one. So you know already that is split it in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you know that it's very easy to build on top of what you learn when you know the radicals, and when you have past experience with other kanjis, how they were created, and then the stories just go very easily. So again, sorry for long video, but I hope you understand how, if I hide this layer, because here I have all descriptions, and this is much easier to look at. You need to understand that each kanji is broken in pieces. You need to understand the meaning of pieces, then it makes extremely highly connected mnemonics for them, and then all these connections will give you the image, will draw the image of the word, the meaning of the word. And like I said again, in the dictionary, for each word you have a description of the word, and any new word that you learn, it will be, you know, created by all the sum of the other the description. So you're creating the description, and then the description will show the word. I hope it's not very confusing, but this is how you should learn from now on every kanji. And don't go back to just, you know, mindlessly looking at it, and now you remember it, and in 5 minutes you check again and you remember it, and you think that, oh, yes, I remember it, but tomorrow you will forget it, because you will not have any link to this. You look at it and it's like, oh my god, what does it look like? It's like, I don't know, some devil here with the horns. No, it's not like that. You need to have a stronger connection to each individual kanji. Then it will be very easy for you to just, you know, build on top. Then you already know, it will be familiar. This is the word that I was looking for. It will be very familiar when you look at this. If I make it small, right, and it's like very maybe hard to read, and it's like, you have a million, you just try to read from left to right, and then boom, from this, all this text, when you see this word, you just know that it means the sea, right? Because you know, I was speaking for half an hour here about it, and you know that if you don't remember it's the sea, you remember some water, some field, water field, something on top. Yeah, of course, the clouds, right? And you then the image of that, you know, water circulation in the sea, and the huge sea and the field and so on comes, and you know that, oh yes, of course, is this sea thing. So this we just from all this we just learned one word. Great. But it's really important you to understand the steps, and this is the checklist, you know, that I'm talking about. In the next lesson we'll do another word, so we'll do a lot more, but I just want you to get this right. Okay, so again, back to this text. So let's take other words. Let's go to this one, right? I just create another layer because it was too crazy. And this is the second word, second layer. We'll take a fresh one, right? So let's take this one, right? It looks complicated, some number here. Well, what does it mean? Okay. So let's break it down. And I said that this has like 3 parts. One, but of course, like I said, you can actually make more parts. But look, let's take this. So I'm just trying to clean a bit. Okay. Okay. So 1. 2, and I have to look ugly, but the rest basically this part, all this, right? So, well, I will not. I don't know how to make it here, but okay, maybe like this. Maybe it's easier like that. So you know that it's like 1, 2, and 3. All right. So we have this this nice kanji. We don't know the meaning, we don't know the reading, we don't know anything. All right. So first, how to read it? Well, here I see that it's 1 on top and 2 down. So we read it like this. Here, we read it like this, right? Because they're not on top of another. Look at the other one. This one, how to read it? Well, here you just read it like from left to right. First you read it like this. But anyway, that's, you know, not so important how to read it. But first you need to identify the radicals. First radical, what does it mean? Second radical, what does it mean? And third radical, what does it mean? Okay. First one means stop. One thing to add here. You can see it, this stop. Sometimes you will see it like this. Here is squished. Here is not. When it's independent, so when you see in the wild the stop, you'll see it like this, a little, you know, looks nicer here, because you need to, it's part of the kanji. Then it's a little squished, because, you know, just to be able to read, otherwise it will be like crazy big kanji. So they're a little squished, but still you can see, right, the shape. You can see the shape, you understand, and when you look at it, you should identify automatically that it's stop. How to know that it's stop? Well, you need to learn it separately, right? It's like as an independent kanji. You need to do again, you know, this ground, this, what does it mean? This, what does it mean? You know, so you need to break it again, like this and like this and like this, right? So okay, now it's a little crazy, but you need to understand that this is independent kanji and it has its own reading and meaning. But look, it's part of this kanji now. Wow,
how to memorize this? Well, you know, this kanji is a little more complicated, so you learn it usually in life a little like later. But this one is very easy. You can see it actually everywhere on, you know, metro or something. So you learn it first. At least this is my take on it. Anyway, so this means stop. What does this small stuff mean? Right? So this means small. This means small. Okay, and this, the remaining stuff is arrow. Wow, how does this look like an arrow? Never mind. This is how you have stop, small, and arrow. And guess what is the meaning of this? You'll never guess it. Well, you never guessed it because you didn't do basically this procedure, how to learn it, and you will not guess it. But the meaning of this is age. So the whole kanji, all this means age, and the reading is sai. Okay. So let's go back. So we have stop, we have small, and arrow. And here, by the way, if you want to read this, is 100 years. So the story here, which I just took from the internet, is something about 100 years. Yeah, not about 100 years, but it contains 100 years here in this context. And by the way, this is not year, it's just age. So when you see number and age, you read it as 100 years something. Old, 100 old, something like that. Anyway, okay, so small. This is small. You can make the mnemonic here to remember is when you see. I'll just hide again this because it's much easier because it just became too complicated. So when you see it for the first time, you see something with stop, arrow. You already can. When I small, so stop, arrow, small. So you can make a story something like when the person, you know, it's about the person here, was 100 years old. It stopped an arrow or something like that, or you know, the small kid stopped an arrow and lived until 100. If it wouldn't stop the arrow, then he would die, something like that. You can be very, you have the freedom, right, to create any mnemonic however you will remember it. So when every time you look at this combination, so you can even go further. You can be like the arrow was huge arrow, right? It's like it overtakes the small child. It was like, imagine this huge arrow, and somehow the guy, it was coming from above, you know, but from above it stopped it, and the guy successfully lived 100. It can be like 10 here, but it doesn't matter. But when you see this, so arrow, stop, and age, or if you want to have it independently and you don't have the context, you can make another story, something like with arrows, small, and stop. You can be like, you know, the life it's like an arrow, and you know, and it's like an arrow from when you're small until you're old, and eventually it stops. At the end it stops. So you can like have a go at another thing, like you can just draw, you know, like, because you just look at the position. So you can imagine an arrow like that, you know, like that, and you start, you're small here, like this,
and then you go, and then you die, right? The end, and then it finishes your lifespan. So you can make it like that, whatever it makes you happy. This is just how I would remember it in the future. And the sigh, well, it's pretty easy in this case. You remember it because you know that you have all this combination, and what is how to read this. So the reading is sigh, and you can say, the person lived so long and it aged well, so you just sigh of relief that it was a good life, something like that. Again, the mnemonics are very, very personal, and it can trigger something in your mind that makes sense to you. For me, this is what makes sense. And so you make mnemonic for radical, that you link all the radicals together. You link the radicals together in a story, all directions, however you want, however it helps you. Then that gives you the meaning, and then with the meaning you get the reading. So the reading, not the other way around. So when you look at it, you shouldn't think about sounds. You should look about meaning. So in this case means sigh, and again, this is actually a little more complicated, because if you take this small, right, you can take it separately. And like this and like this, right? And if you'll see it anywhere, you will also break this down. So this is a roof. This, it will look ugly, but this is a hook. This is a roof. This is a hook, and this is like wet, water, wet. By the way, the water which you saw there on the side, where it was, hold on, this one, it can be also like ice. You think about it, something like related to water, when you see these strokes. And in this case it's sigh, so it's like a you can think about this being small, the meaning being small, like look, they're like a small pebble or something like that. And the hook is like a worm. So you can make again different layer of associations for that when you see it. So in this particular lesson, this video, we did another kanji. We did this one, and we know that in this context means like 100 old, and this means age, like separately. If I take it out of the context and you just put it somewhere and just put what does this kanji itself mean, in 99% of the cases it means age. So you'll remember now, hopefully, using this formula. And in the next video I will just write just the formula. This is how I call it formula, but the method in actually learning this. So it will be like written black on white, or what is it, orange on white. Okay, so we're back. All right, so let's take another kanji and we'll do it from scratch. Let's take, I don't know, this one. Let me just enable. Okay, looks a little ugly, but all right. Let's let me just zoom in. Let's you know what? Let's take another color because I'm kind of sick of this. Let's take this bluish thing. Okay, so we'll take this kanji. I hope you like this color. If not, sorry. Okay, first and the foremost, what is the principle here? So like I said, you know that it's a kanji. So first of all, what you do if you see it on the first time, you break it into chunks, into radicals. So first, radicals. What are the radicals here? Well, there are quite a lot, but you can look at it like that. Like that. The meaning is actually created by two big radicals, and them independently, you have one like this, then you have the second one, and this again like this. Okay, so you have officially you have 1, 2, 3, 4 radicals, but looking in this context, because it's all Japanese is all about context, you have 2. So you have radicals. We split it the radicals. Okay, fine. We know that we need, after the radicals, we need the meaning. What do they stand for? You know, looking at them, what is the first image that pops up into your mind? Okay, so let's take this one, first one. Okay, so we have one. Sorry, we don't really have one because it will correspond to this one here. So you'll think that you have A and B. So these two will create the meaning. Okay, so we have a roof here. It's also a roof. It can be a roof like this can be also like a roofy thing, like that, or it can be like here, like a roof, something on top, right? Something that covers. You know, I call it roof because it's easy to just remember it, but this is like a roof. Yeah, it even looks like a roof from the house. And the bottom part, so you have roof and you have what is this mysterious thing? Well, this looks like a day, right? Because I said it's like a day. Then you have some pin here. Then you have also, it looks like a kind of like this one, right? Like a roof thing. And here is another one which is undefined, right? Okay. Well, I will tell you directly what this means. And the second one, you know, it will be, I will tell you directly, not because I want to skip, but it's because it will take too long. I will just have to write too many things here, but you need to learn the radicals. If you know the radicals, you will just, you know, very easy decipher this puzzle. And the second one. So first one means something related to food, like eatery, you know, like a restaurant or something. So let's call it like eating place. And the second one is again like a roof. You see two types of roofs in the same. And in this case, means something official. First of all, this kanji is like used something like how to say it in English. It's when you mention this, it's something like official building or something like that. But in this case, it's like something like eating place. But anyway, it's when you see this alone, it means like official building or official, you know, post office or something. Just imagine it like a building which is, you know, used by everyone, like a town hall or I don't know, like White House, something like that. So then we know the radical, so it means something with official, and then you have like a eating place. And in this case, so the meaning in this case is we have this, so it means like building,
This of has the sense that, like I said, the meaning of building. So when you look at it, it's like building, but it's official. Okay, maybe this this wasn't really the best example because it's a little complicated to wrap around what this means. And then the three, the reading, it means it's can, and you can look at it, you can imagine, you know, the Barbie's boyfriend Ken, right? So so building. So this is the meaning, by the way, doesn't have to be like precise, but the meaning. So first you find the radicals, then you get to the meaning. In this case, is building, some building, some type of official building, and the reading. So you have mnemonic for radicals, if you want, otherwise you can just learn them. It's not really a lot. Building, then you have the meaning for, you know, mnemonic for meaning, and then you have mnemonic for reading, and all this will get you like official building, which is can. So usually this word, maybe it wasn't the correct word to choose, but in any case, it's used at the end of or in combination with other words to create something like to give the sense of the place that is something officially, you know, like official. I can't come up with any example, but in this case, you know, this is what it means. So if you follow this formula 1, 2, 3, and with their appropriate mnemonics, and then it will be easy to, when you look at it in the future. If I hide this, if I hide this layer, then it will be very easy. You know, you can see the roof. Okay, so it's like some eating place. Okay, fine. Then you have another roof. It looks different, right? But it has the meaning, the essence of a roof, because it's on top, and it has this like you know, covering what's beneath. You'll not find it, for example, alone, you know, like down here somewhere. You'll always find it on top of something, and it changes the meaning of what's underneath. And in this case, this is like official, like a neighborhood, you know, and in this case, it's like officially eatery, you know, and all this is, you think about, is like official building, whatever it is here. Yeah, this was maybe not the best example because it's a little kind of hard to wrap around, but you know, this one down here, it means open, so maybe this one is easier. So okay, let's take this one down. I'll just enable this. Oh my god, I think I need to make another layer. Hold on, make another layer, hide this one. Okay, let's see if I can write. Can I write? Yeah, I can. Okay, so we have this kanji. Apply the formula. First is this one down, and the second one is the remaining stuff. So this, if you look at it good, this, they look like gates, right? At least this is what is the radical, what it means, the gates. Because, I mean, you just imagine in a you know, Wild West movie, they had this moving doors, and whatever it's inside, in this case it can be like open or closed. In this case it's open. You know, this means open, this together with this means open. So in this case it means open. You always see it like very, very, very fast. So
there is another kanji which looks exactly the same, but it's changed. This part is different, you know. So you can make the kind of by association that this one is open. Just imagine it like you know, some guy with open arms coming, and you know, it's very easy to remember. This was kind of easy kanji to remember the meaning. But there are a lot of other, you know, like, I don't know, but you know, you get the idea here. So this, when you look at it, you break it down, then you get the meaning, extract the meaning from it through the mnemonics, which are like the highway to the meaning. You create the meaning between, and then the reading, you know, can. You just imagine, you know, the candle, you know, going to some restaurant, some official restaurant with Barbie, whatever. So, you know, just, you know, create your own depending on the situation. But yeah, so this is it basically. I will attach all the radicals, or at least majority of the radicals which are used to build these kanjis, and you just look at the radicals, just recognize them, what they mean, their meaning. The radicals don't have reading, so it's very easy to remember, you know. So a lot of them, they're you know, super easy. This is roof, this is like rice field. You already saw it, you know, in two different ways. So you have it once here. It's the same thing, yeah. Here it just looks, it has this stuff, you know, but whatever, it's the same thing. This one is car, yeah. And if you look at it inside, right, it's yet another version of the same kanji. So the radicals are reusable. This is what you need to think. These are reusable elements, and they don't have to look the same. You see, they don't have to look the same. This is straight, this is a little oblique, and this one is, I don't know, squished a bit. But the meaning of the radical, the essence of the radical is the same. And in this case, you know, it's like rice field, and as part of like the image of water, of the sea. And here, you know, it's part of the car, which is this inside, you know. And then this is a roof, yet another roof. So you have one roof here, one roof here, one roof here. They're all roofs because they're above something. Yeah. Also another roof here. Look, if you want to count roofs. So these radicals, they may look a bit off, a little different. They're not like letters, you know. A is always A. It always has the same writing. But here, these are just proxies for what's beneath that, you know. This can be, you know, also like sparkles, sparks. I don't know how to say it in English, but again, they don't have reading. They're just building like strokes of a brush, you know. And you can make those strokes in different ways, but if you make them literally a little the same, then they have the same meaning. So yeah, so this is basically it. I will attach the radicals and their approximate meaning, and then you can just take, you know, random kanjis. This one, yeah. Then break it down. What looks similar? You know, this looks like this is actually like a brush, you know. And then this looks like the ground, you know, like part of the stop. Then this is like a day. Okay. Then you make another. Apply the 3 formula, break it down, get the mnemonic for meaning, and get the how to say, the reading. And of course the reading, all this, you need to learn it by dictionary, you know.
So all this course is not to teach you like the I don't have like a dictionary here in front of me with all the words and their meaning. This is very easy there on the internet. My goal with this course is to create a clear-cut method of learning these kanjis, and when you look at them again in the future, you will just know it instinctively, because you're already familiar with it. You're familiar with each part. You know, if you see a giraffe for the first time, it's like, oh my god, it's a giraffe, fine. But if you see it like the second time, you will instantly recognize it. Why I recognize a giraffe? Well, because she's bloody tall. It has you know, the color, it has this long neck, it has you know, these dots and so on. You just know it because you know the elements, you know what is made of, let's say, and each of them have a meaning. And then you get the giraffe, you get the kanji meaning, and then from the meaning, then it's super easy to learn the reading, because the reading to remember it. So I will try to go through other kanjis, and if there is some particular kanji which doesn't have a direct you know, very easy to remember mnemonic, it doesn't matter. We can you know, go through it together if you want. You can contact me and I will give you how I learned it, the mnemonic and the reading, how to think about it if it's not clear, you know, from this. But really, it's not much to it, but it's just very precise. So you have one here, you have second here, and you have third here, right? So you just make 3 separate meanings, combine them. It looks ugly already. You combine them, make story. So you put 1, 2, 3. Then in the story it can be 2 to 3, and then 3 to 1, right? And then you get the big the big meaning. And from the meaning, the reading, and you're done. And you know it forever. Every time you look at this, you know that it's open. Because why? Because it has these doors, right? I mean, just look at it. It has doors and it has this open inside, you know, opening inside. It means open. Then you go here. This you already know. What is it? It's sea. Why sea? Because it has water, it has a roof, which is like the clouds, and here is like a vastness of the rice field. So again, how to read this? Well, it's very easy. It's written sai. Ume, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking about the next one. It's ume. Yeah. Like I said, la mer. Yeah, ume. So yeah, it's not really complicated, but initially you should make it not complicated, but you should make it abundant, you know, with a lot of information for you, which are very relevant to you, whatever ticks for you. You may be, you know, Turkish, watching this, and you're like, oh my god, but you know, your mnemonics are totally crazy, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with me. The reading is like, I think about something else. That's fine, as long as you think about something similar in your life, which is approximately makes sense to you, so you can actually make the story, because you remember the story, you don't remember all these tiny bits, you know. You remember the story, and you have the freedom. It really is like, it's like so important to get this idea of creating small stories for everything, for each kanji. And I'll tell you something really, it can speed up even more your learning, because you just need to learn it once good, and that's it. You don't need to waste time, you know, with space repetition, with Anki every day, hours and hours of repetition. It's waste of time. It's absolutely waste of time. I did like thousands of hours like that and it didn't work. it just works a little. But when I discovered this principle, that is just, for me, it just skyrocketed everything. I just learn it every day. I can learn like 30 of them without any problem, and I learned just once. Yeah, so you can speed the whole thing, the whole process. You can just use, if you want, you can use ChatGPT, and you can ask ChatGPT, for example, you just, if you read it online, something, and you discover some new word, this word, for example, and you're like, oh my God, it's like, I don't recognize anything here. What's this? What's this? Fine. Or you can, if you recognize it, you can ask ChatGPT. If you don't recognize it, you can ask ChatGPT to break it down for you. It's even easier. Or if you recognize it, but you just want, I want now 50 new words to learn, I don't have time to do all this math thing. That's fine. You can ask ChatGPT, here, these are 10 words. All these words, which I just copied from online, you want to learn today. Please break it down into radicals for me, and even make a small story for each individual radical, for each word, and please save it in as Excel, and you can just have it with you. So like that, you can do like in mass kanji learning. So usually I don't do this because it's just I prefer to just take my time, because you just want to learn it properly. You don't want to learn 30 a day, but even though you could, but you just want to take this one, and you're like, okay, let's think about it. Let's make a story. Let's make the story fun, and you make this is a part, then this is a part. What is down? It's a pig. Oh, amazing, pig. Yeah. And what is up? It's again roof, the beloved roof, pig roof, pig under the roof. Oh, what it means, and figure out. It's like a nice puzzle, and again, you can check the dictionary or online dictionary, Jouyou, and see the meaning, and then you're like, okay, how do I get from this radical and this radical to this meaning? Whatever it is. It can be something clear or something vague, any word, because you don't have to, the words are very different in the sense of their meaning. Of some of them, they're very clear, and some of them are very abstract. How to describe, melancholy, how you can imagine, it's pretty complicated, the kanji, but still, it's, if you think about it in stories instead of just memorizing it like a face. Faces we memorize because we watch them thousands and thousands of times, and maybe even then we don't know it. But in this case, we need to break it down. We need to break down the pieces. Otherwise, you'll never fully, truly understand the kanji. But after that, if you know that actually each kanji is made of chunks which are repeated in other kanjis, and then make the story, and you're done, and you're done forever. That's the best advice that I can give you. So if you want, do it with ChatGPT and ask it to break it down for you in chunks, and then make story. You can even ask ChatGPT to make a story for each chunk, meaning each radical. Make me a story about this and this and this radical. Fine. And you can create a story for you. But it's the best if you do it by yourself. Do this nice stories, and then you'll just remember it, and then the reading, and that's it, guys. Really, just now go ahead and take a list there on the internet with first 500 kanjis, and just learn it like that. Take each individual one, and if you want, you can use it with Anki. It's not a problem if you really like Anki, but you just literally need a notepad on Excel. That's it. Just make the list, copy the list, and just break it down and make stories for each, and just learn the stories, and that's it. And you know, you can test yourself if you want with Anki later, but it's guaranteed for me. It just I don't know, hyper jumped my kanji learning. And after that, after you know the kanjis, after you know like 5,000-6,000 kanjis, you can just read anything and it will be just super fast. Then you just let your brain do the thing and just use your power to then, you know, learn new skills, new kanjis, and we can just schedule a 10 new kanjis a day, and it's really fun. Or if not, it's fine, but still, whatever you will know, you will assimilate much better. It will go much deeper than your average you know, kanji learning, which they never really stick. So guys, good luck, and tell me what else I should add to this, like a bonus or something. Bye.